needed to have a good start to the second half.
I mean, right here is, once again, Clemson not getting a touchdown in the red zone. Last year, that was one of their biggest issues. This is a new kicker. Okay. Good.
All right, Maddie, here's a question for you. So, obviously, it doesn't look like Cade is all that. Like, what would you have called in that red zone to best optimize the scoring potential? Because it didn't look like he was all that comfortable.
Yeah, the two things that really wasn't a fan of there for Clemson offensively, I just, a bunch formation and then running toss right into the boundary versus a Kirby Smart defense. Just like, to me, it isn't like the most ideal type of play, right? And then to come back with a quarterback run, it looked pretty good if it was like just execute a little bit better, but just, there's too many moving pieces. Like, can we just simplify the game a little bit more the way that Georgia did on their scoring opportunity when they went down the field, right? Mm-hmm. For right now, it just seems like, the concept is there, but the execution isn't. So how can we simplify these concepts, right, so we can execute better?
You're wrong.
No, it's quarterback.
This is an Alabama.
No, it is not.
I'm just making sure.
But another one to transfer, right?
Yeah.
So you didn't tell me anything.
Yeah.
It's week 1 of the college football show, baby, and we're so back. Let's get this thing rolling. Let's go.
Welcome to the College Football Show presented by AT&T. Really cool look there, getting to peel the curtain back and seeing how everything comes together. It takes a village, and we are so appreciative. Yeah. That was our director, Brian Metzger, that put that together. But, guys, week 1, it has been a week. Matt Sims, Skubie Mageza, I'm Sam Ravech. We are here for the next hour to break everything down for you. We got highlights of all the top games. We'll also talk about some top plays. Maddie will get back on the screen there to break down some of those plays. But, Skubie, I got to come to you here because there was a showdown in Atlanta today between the top 15 opponents.
I mean, this is the game that everyone was talking about. And for everybody talking in the YouTube comments, make sure you holler at us. I'll be checking it out throughout the show. So if you see me with my head down, it's because I'm looking at what you're saying. But let's go ahead and get to the game. Clemson versus Georgia, and Carson Beck and them Bulldogs open up to a record crowd in Mercedes-Benz Stadium against Clemson. I mean, it was popping in there, and it was a defensive slugfest in the first half. Georgia only led 6-0 until they made some halftime adjustments. And right here, Carson Beck finds Arian Smith down the sideline for a 32-yard game.
Massive.
And this got them rolling. Biggest play of the day there. Later on in the drive, Beck finds a transfer from Miami. Kobe Young on the back shoulder fade. Listen, we call this light work, Matt. Way to get it up there. Georgia goes up 13. We stay in the third quarter. Nate Frazier, no relation to Walt Frazier. He's the one that's going to end up punching it in after they get a huge gain here.
Transfer London Humphreys with the big catch over the middle.
Yeah.
And here's the freshman Nate Frazier punching it in.
Really
Frazier,
impressive for him today.
Debut, got to get the start because ETN suspended.
Yep.
Fourth quarter now, Beck looks over the middle and finds Humphreys. He was the leading receiver for Georgia today. The transfers got to work. The Dogs go up 20 right here after that touchdown. The next drive for Clemson, Cade Klubnik tries to make a play, but Malachi Starks says, "Who do you think you are? I am one of the best DBs in the country," literally. Take another look at it because NFL scouts are drooling.
That was
over
off
this
one
guy.
leg he got up there, too.
I mean,
I just can't wait for the draft prep next year already. I can hear Mel Kiper right now. I love what he did in the Clemson game. Unbelievable interception.
and then Cash Jones, the super senior, ends up getting into the end zone here as Georgia wins it 34-3.
Pay his money.
Yeah, give him the money. 34-3 is the final score. Nate Frazier, 11 rushes, 83 yards. And Carson Beck shows out. But in the first half, this was a slow start towards the game. 6-0 game, as I had mentioned. It was a defensive slugfest. They struggled to make some big plays down the field. But, Matt, Georgia made some adjustments that we talked about in that room that y'all just saw. What is it? that Georgia did differently in the second half.
Yeah, I really, the biggest thing for us to keep in mind, all of us college football fans, right, is that first half, it really is almost like your first scrimmage.
No preseason.
Yeah, there's no preseason, there's no scrimmage. You're just trying to figure out, like, you're excited, everything's going, you're in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, there's so many emotions, all that. You even heard, too, that Carson Beck was talking about, I just got to calm down on the sideline.
Yep.
And I think that's exactly what happened. They went in the locker room, they're like, hey, man, it can't go any worse than what it did. Let's calm down, let's execute. And Mike Bobo, I think, scripted a phenomenal coming out script for them, spread the field horizontally on speed sweeps, right? Took advantage of some easy pass completions from Carson Beck on the sideline, and then after that, everything opened up.
Carson Beck has the chance to be the first quarterback that Georgia has had drafted in the first round since Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
And he is well on his way.
It's going to happen.
Right,
Yeah.
it's going to happen. I was really impressed with the variety that he showed today. I think 9 different receivers caught a pass from 8 of those receivers caught multiple passes. 72% of their catches came with yards after the catch. So, in other words, they had 278 receiving yards today.
Yeah.
200 of those came after the catch. So they were able to find space, work those one-on-one matchups. I was really impressed.
Yeah, and the thing about Georgia is that they got into the transfer portal, unlike Clemson.
No
right?
doubt.
Out of the 4 touchdowns that Georgia had, 3 of them were scored by transfer portal players. 11 transfers in the offseason for Georgia. They end up getting over 20 ESPN 300 recruits in back-to-back years. It's the first time that any coach has ever done that since they began tracking that stat back in 2006. So Georgia has been developing, recruiting, and hitting the transfer portal. Now, on the other side, as it becomes Clemson's turn for me to talk about them.
Yeah.
0 transfers in the transfer portal. 0 since 2018.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you want to think about recruiting. How are they doing on the recruiting trail? 3 years, straight 3 years, where they have had under 10 recruits in the ESPN 300. So to me, I see Georgia a team that's developing, hitting the transfer portal, and on top of that, they're hitting the recruit trail at a high level. And then Clemson, you're not doing all that at a high level. So I don't know where we're looking at Clemson now as a top program in the country, but what is the reason that Dabo doesn't want to hit the transfer portal?
To encapsulate what you just said, you know what Georgia is? They're just really, really well-rounded. They do everything really well, and that's really what it comes down to. Clemson, they have enough talent on the field, I think, to make that game more competitive, but really what it was, they just got out-coached. They got out-schemed, and as the game continued to wear on, right, with that scheme, then their players all of a sudden just blossom, and we're thinking, oh, it's all about the transfer portal. It's not. It's a part of it, no doubt. But Kirby Smart, that program, their identity is so much more clear than it is at Clemson right now.
It just seems, and obviously the narrative is going to be, well, Dabo just refuses to use the portal. And they have fallen behind. Obviously, you mentioned it in the recruiting trail, but also on the field. And look, let's not pretend that this isn't Georgia, because it is. They are playing one of, if not the best teams in the entire country in this game. But I feel like Clemson and Dabo really had an opportunity to come into this season and make a statement to say, no, you can still win the old way.
Right.
I think the answer is no, you can't.
Well, there's 2 extremes to it. There's the Dabo way, right, which is nothing at all. And then there's the Deion Sanders way, which is the whole team turn it over, right? And the truth is that it's probably somewhere right in the middle. It's a mixture of development like Clemson believes in and knows to be true, right, to some extent. But it also is there's no reason why you can't go out there and just fill certain pieces where you feel like you were lacking. And that's the biggest thing for Clemson.
One thing Kirby Smart said towards the end of this game, he said, we are very selective in the transfer department, but we needed some wideouts. We lost a lot of wideouts. You fill the holes that you have on your team in the recruiting trail and in the transfer portal, and that's what Georgia did, and it's not what Clemson did.
And really, does Clemson have the funds, right, monetarily to actually be more aggressive in the transfer portal? Now, like, we like to think that they are, right? It's a beautiful school. Like, they're the ACC. It's a powerhouse, all that. But, like, let's not get it confused either. They're not the machine of Georgia, right, in that department, right? It's not on the same level that way. So I wonder if if Dabo is a little, handcuffed in a way with his ability to spend if he does decide to be more open to the portal?
It's a fair question to ask, and we'll see how Clemson continues on this path because they, too, like Georgia, have a very difficult schedule coming up the next couple of weeks. All right, we'll keep it with the rivalries here. The U was up in the swamp this afternoon. 2 coaches on the hot seat there. Must-win games for both Mario Cristobal and Billy Napier. Sneak peek here, Miami was the one doing the Gator chomp by the end of this one. First quarter, Cam Ward floats one over the middle, finds Cam McCormick. Great story, easy to cheer for. He's in his 9th season of college football due to a lot of injuries. Started his career over at Oregon. Miami goes up early 7-0. Second quarter now, Ward finding Isaiah Horton deep in Florida territory. Cam Ward looked really, really good today, Matty.
I mean, I thought he looked good at Washington State, and I never could imagine that he would look even that much better in a Miami uniform. Not only just stylistically, right, but just also the performance. Dude was dynamite all day today.
That was a part of what they were trying to sell to him. They said, if you come here, we'll surround you with better players. You will win more. And right now, going into an SEC place like the Gators,
Third quarter here, Ward getting pressured, rolling out. This might have been one of his more impressive plays. Finding Jacoby George here.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, it is just silly stuff.
You know, like in theory right here, this one defender kind of has a lane to maybe break and cut on it there at the back corner, but he just throws it so damn hard and accurate. It's just impossible to defend.
Miami cruises in this one. Billy Napier going to have to answer a lot of tough questions in the next couple of days. Coming up, Florida with the toughest schedule in college football. Miami is in the driver's seat right now. They do not have a very difficult schedule. I want to get to Miami's defense in a second because I think they played a great game up there in the swamp. But
very impressive.
We also have seen quite a few excellent quarterback performances here in week one. That one might have been the most impressive, though, Matty.
Yeah, I mean, Carson Beck, Cam Ward, I mean, it just Shedeur Sanders. What we've seen from these 3 individuals this weekend is super impressive. And this is something right here that you're seeing on screen, you know, that we're going to see more of that you really didn't need to see it today. It's his ability to run, and it's his ability to extend football plays. The precision passing is absolutely just ridiculous, how powerful and how quickly he gets the football out of his hands, how well he spins the football so it's easy to catch even though he's throwing it hard. And the offense, I mean, Dawson really did a great job of just a well-rounded attack. Damian Martinez, he's going to be a huge influence in this offense, right? And then Fletcher, we saw that too. So they're going to be able to play with power and finesse right now. So to me, Miami, easy favorites right now for us to put our funds into.
Yeah, Cam Ward definitely had the best week out of every quarterback. You come into this team, right? It's your first time playing with Miami.
In the swamp.
Yes, you go in the swamp against the SEC team.
Yeah.
And we knew that Mario was going to be on the hot seat. Billy was on the hot seat. And to not only come in there and win, but to put up the most points that Florida has let up in a season opener game is something else. Florida has a difficult schedule. Miami doesn't have as much of a difficult schedule as Florida, but one thing this does is put the ACC in a better place.
No question.
Because the ACC already had Florida State lose. The ACC already had Clemson lose.
Virginia Tech
in an upset win. They have the most difficult non-conference schedule in the entire country, and they take pride in that. So to come out and get that win week 1, with a team like Miami, the U, we want them back. Because everyone says Texas is back. We want the U back, too. And it is great for college football to have a prolific quarterback there.
And I think Mario Cristobal is doing exactly what we just discussed with Dabo Swinney, right? He's got some program guys, but he also went out to the transfer portal, got himself a quarterback, got himself a few extra offensive linemen, right? And now, the team, it looks like it's really well-rounded again. So Mario Cristobal, we know that he can build an organization. He has shown that, he has proven that. And now with this quarterback, you know, it's looking promising.
I do want to touch upon Florida here and the implications of this game. For the first time since 1940, Florida has had 3 consecutive losing seasons.
Yeah.
You know, Graham Mertz led the SEC in completion percentage last year. He got hit a lot. Now, credit Miami's defense there, but when you have an opportunity to get off on the right foot at home in front of that crowd, and you lay an egg like that, I mean, that cannot set up well for Coach Napier and this team going forward. How do you reset after this?
Well, first of all, I just wanted to say this. You know, Graham Mertz, it wasn't on you, man, right? Because I know he's been kind of a punching bag every now and then for people and fans, like to say that he's, you know, whatever. But There was no one open on the back end. Miami was all over what Florida was doing offensively all day today. So it's not on the quarterback. It really is just a product of the fact that they, again, were outcoached and outplayed on both sides of the football. And now the question is, how can you steal some of these games?
Steal being the operative word.
And that really is, because that is a gauntlet of a schedule ahead of you. And to say that your quarterback got hit the way that he got hit today against Miami, I mean, some of those other opponents can pass rush just as good as anyone.
Yeah, I will say one thing before we move on, though. Florida has the most difficult schedule in the country, correct?
Yeah.
So if there's anyone who can afford a trip up, it is them, because you're going to have some tough opponents down the line.
Opportunities.
To show the committee that, hey, we got better as a team down the road. But it's not a great start at all. All right, somebody else had a great start, and they're in the Big Ten. Penn State, they were visiting West Virginia, and we start this game off in the second quarter. Drew Aller says, we have a new offensive coordinator, and I'm ready to cook. He hits Harrison Wallace up the middle, 55-yard touchdown. Penn State gets on the board first. It's 6-0.
I think this is when we were all like, whoa, this is maybe a different Penn State team.
Yeah. I'm actually enjoying watching them play.
Right.
Yeah, and it was not fun last year. Now 6 seconds left until the first half is over. Alhart does something that doesn't make sense, because that's a dime. Check it out on the replay. Toe drag swag, because you see all the black stuff going up. It's because he was dragging his toes, y'all. Third quarter. Just as the second half was about to start, a torrential downpour came down. This game was delayed for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Which kind of like took the air out of Penn State. I feel like they were really about to explode offensively, and then this delay kind of happened. But, you know, luckily they were able to recalibrate. And, yeah, it doesn't hurt when you have running backs like Nick Singleton and Trayton Allen there running the football for you.
40-yard touchdown.
Excuse me.
That made it 27-6. They go on to win it 34-12. I think one thing that everybody knows about Penn State is they're always on the outside looking in the Big Ten. It's Ohio State, it's Michigan, and then it's Penn State. But James Franklin brought in Ando Kotelnicki, and now he is the new offensive coordinator coming over from Kansas. A point of focus for them was explosive plays. They got some explosive plays.
Yeah.
How impressed are you with this Penn State offense now as a threat?
It was really enjoyable to watch, and I feel like we, for the first time ever in Drew Aller's career, saw him play with confidence and enthusiasm and energy, and really display, again, all the things that we continue to hear about. You know, he's big, he's strong, he's athletic, he has a cannon for an arm.
Yep.
And there was a few throws here where it's just like beautiful rhythm in his passing. This one was absolutely gorgeous, and the design of the play was great. They ran a corner with a post underneath it, completely exploiting the coverage that West Virginia was running on this one. So I think it's a match made in heaven. James Franklin, great job getting the coordinator that you needed, right, to really just, again, reshape how you feel about your program.
Yeah.
Excited for Drew Aller.
Just getting started here, too, for Penn State. And, keep in mind, Ohio State has to go to Happy Valley this year. That will be a really exciting game. We'll keep it in the Big Ten here. Talk about a sleeper in this conference this year. Don't overlook the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Yeah, let's go.
Cade McNamara and the Iowa Hawkeyes hosting Illinois State. Question for Iowa, can they finally get some offense going? Play action play here. McNamara rolling right, finding tight end Reese Vanderzee for the touchdown. Hawkeyes fired up after their first touchdown of the season. There would be a lot more of this McNamara-Vanderzee combo here.
It's a new day, man.
Tight ends, have had success there. Luke Lachey, of course, is there, but the biggest question was, can they finally have some offense? Offensive coordinator Tim Lester coming over, taking over the reins. This looked like a competitive Iowa team all around versus just having the defense.
Well, the great thing about Iowa is we know they're going to play great defense. We know that they're going to run the ball extremely well. Cade McNamara, great experience. And if they can continue to build that balance offensively of running the football, play action passing, the boots and nakeds, and then Cade, just manage the game, make the right decision when it's appropriate, this could be a problem, man. Iowa, they got some dudes on that offensive line. They got some dudes on the defensive side of the football. Like, this could be a really fun team to watch as the year goes.
That offense can just give you 25 plus per game.
That's all we're asking.
That's it. All of a sudden, it's going to be a team that can compete in the Big Ten, and definitely a playoff team.
By the way, they only scored 25 points or more twice all of last year.
Yeah.
And they go up and shut out Illinois State today.
And it must feel good for them,
40-0.
too, to finally be like, whoa, we did it.
Yeah.
We scored.
It's a new day.
Right? We can do it. Like, let's go, right? Good for them. I'm excited for them.
All right, moving on. We got Oklahoma State welcoming the South Dakota State Jackrabbits Pack Rabbits.
You got it.
Can't talk. There we go. All right, we're going to start this off in the first quarter. OSU up 3-0. Alex Bowman hits Brennan Presley, and he says, "Excuse me, sir. I have a date with the end zone. Reservations for 6." Nice little throw there to the outside.
Yeah,
Broken
Bowman
tackle
played
to get
really
in
well
there.
today.
He's still playing college football?
Yes, he is for
Right?
better half of the decade. He's Van Wilder of football, and I love it.
Second quarter. Time to give the ball to the beast. Fee, fi, fo, fum. This guy's a monster. Ollie Gordon with the 12-yard touchdown at his position. He's a top player for real. That's my co-host for real.
Yeah,
That's
good
my
luck
co-host
tackling
for real.
that guy.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Bowman, he's going to find Ollie Gordon here again. And this time, he makes his damage in the pass game. Cannot be brought down with hand tackles. Those are for weak people, not strong people. The play would be reviewed, but the ruling on the field stands. 17-6 then. And then OSU would end up winning it 44-20.
Yeah, Oklahoma State, sneaky team to make the 12-team playoff this year. How about Tennessee as a sneaky team to also make the playoff? Biggest question in this one, new starting quarterback Nico Iamaleava.
The Ocho.
He lit up Iowa in the Citrus Bowl last year with 4 touchdowns, and he was slinging this thing around. He finds Ethan Davis for the touchdown. Tennessee goes up 14-0, and they just started to make it rain.
Look at this throw.
Nico
Beautiful
hits
rhythm.
Dante Thornton. And they were playing, this was unbelievable stuff. Nico hit the showers early. He only needed 1/2 of work. 3 touchdown passes, 313 yards. Tennessee might have found their new starting quarterback.
Oh, they did. They
have.
Yeah. No, that's right.
Yeah.
Let's go, man. This guy was legit. His command of the offense, super composed all day. Looked like he knew where to go with the football every single time. The accuracy, the power, and the speed at which Tennessee operated offensively is exactly what Josh Heupel wants to do.
All right, so I want to kind of flip this around a little bit. Tennessee kind of has flown under the radar a little bit. When you talk about Oklahoma and Texas coming into the SEC, Tennessee had a bit of a down year last year. When you make the move from Hendon Hooker to Joe Milton, it just didn't seem to click. Now, they actually did lead the SEC in rushing, but they were missing that threat down the field, and I think they've found it with Nico. What does this team look like now when the SEC looks at their quarterback and says, well, they got something brewing there in Knoxville?
They definitely do. And again, Heupel wants to move fast. And what we really missed, too, is Dylan Sampson really did some damage in the run game. And that's really where Heupel, is a little sneaky in that way, because we always kind of get lost in, like, the passing attack of Heupel and what they do. But when they're moving fast and their quarterback's making good decisions and putting it in play, it's those short little quick, get to the line and then run inside zone runs that Dylan Sampson just did an absolute job of just running with great speed all single day today. And it was really impressive. And I think that's the balance we're looking for this team.
And defensively, just look at it. Chattanooga, they're a team that didn't cross Tennessee's territory until the second half. And then on top of that, they held their running game to under 80 yards. They just locked them down on the defensive end. And you like to see them step up on the defensive end, because what they got offensively with Nico is a guy who passes the ball. I think what Joe Milton did a lot last year was throw it really hard. There wasn't really any touch in his throws. The lanes were opened up. He's able to hit his receivers in stride. So it was really a difference maker today to see him play the way that he did.
A lot of credit to Tim Banks. Last year was one of the best years that they have had since Josh Heupel made his way over to Rocky Top, and it looks like they're going to be continuing to be a problem in the SEC. A lot of changes in college football this year. One of the changes comes at one of the premier schools in the SEC, Alabama. Kalen DeBoer on the sideline. They are taking on Western Kentucky. I think Western Kentucky actually led the country in blitzes last year, but no problem here. Jalen Milroe going to take it in himself. Bama going up 7-0 later in the quarter. Milroe, Kendrick Law, TD. Bama up by 2 scores. Alabama is now leading 28-0 in the second quarter.
That, right?
Kind of expect that, but I think, again, still some new faces, some new pieces. I think Alabama lost a ton in the portal.
Even that play right there and that touchdown throw, Jalen Milroe moving up in the pocket suddenly, but then stopping right before the line of scrimmage and then hitting Kendrick Law. Those were things that, like, early on in the year, we didn't see that awareness and that composure as a passer. And right there displaying just all the growth that he went through a year ago. And Kalen DeBoer, what he has done for the quarterback position everywhere he has gone, I really expect Jalen Milroe to, again, improve as a drop-back passer this season more than he ever has.
I think Alabama likes exactly where they are this season in terms of everyone's perspective
Yes.
on their team.
Yeah,
because
great point.
everyone isn't talking about them the same way that they've been talked about under Nick Saban, where it's like, okay, Alabama, we got to watch out for them. Right now, we're giving them all the fuel that they need to be pumped, to come in and kind of catch everybody off guard. I mean, look at the returners and the additions that they had. Yes, they lost many of the players, but you get Ryan Williams to come in at wide receiver and then Jalen at the cornerback position. The defensive back position is where I thought they were going to have some trouble. But
they lost Caleb Downs.
Exactly.
They bring in Keon Saab from Michigan, right? So he's a great addition to that secondary too. And I think that's where it's a good mixture of a little of everything. And again, we can't deny that Kalen DeBoer knows
He's
how
a
to
great
just
coach.
He knows how to coach.
20, what was it? Over 20 games won, less than 5 lost in his 2 years at Washington. And then his record against some of the top-ranked teams in the country, he always wins. He has a winning record against top-ranked teams. James Franklin can't say the same about that at Penn State.
Oh, you don't have to do that.
I don't mean to do that to you, James, but I'm just talking about what Kalen DeBoer has been able to do. And if you're thinking about the perfect guy to bring in to replace those big-ass shoes that Nick Saban has, you're going to bring in the coach of the year, and that's Kalen DeBoer.
No doubt.
By the way, Saban was great on College Game Day today. I really loved watching him. One of the questions I do have, though, for Alabama, can they protect Jalen Milroe a little bit better this year? 44 sacks last year. So we'll see how that progresses over the course of the season. All right, time now for Can't Take the Heat, built by the Home Depot. So many of you just coming back to college football here in week 1 have quickly realized that, Texas and Oklahoma are in the SEC. You got Oregon, Washington, the Big Ten. A lot of moving pieces, players in different spots as well. And Nick Saban is also now gone, like we just mentioned on the College Game Day desk. So who is the face of college football in 2024?
Oh, you looking at me?
I'm looking at you, Matt.
You're looking at me.
You
well,
can give us
I
the
think
answer.
my favorite, 2 villains right now, I'll go with the villains, right? And it's going to be Dan Lanning and Lane Kiffin, right? Because it's just kind of easy, you know? It really is. They got a little attitude, right? They're not afraid to just let you know exactly how they feel. And I love that. So I think it's a great aspect because one's in the SEC, right? And the other one's in the Big Ten. Those are the 2 best conferences in football right now. And I feel like those 2 guys will always keep, us entertained with not only what we see between the lines, but what we see outside of them as well.
What do you think, Scoop?
I would have loved to say Kirby Smart, but he's not really much of a personality when it comes down to sound bites.
So
Right?
you need a personality to have.
So if I'm going to go with personality, I'm going to go with the guy who on Thursday night had over 4 million people tune into his game. Deion Sanders is kind of the face of college football right now because everybody can't get enough of watching this team.
No doubt.
I know some of y'all might be tired of us talking about them. I get it. But listen, it's like junk food. You know it's bad. You know you shouldn't be eating it. You shouldn't be picking it up. But when you do take a bite, it tastes so good. So I'm going to go with Deion being one of the faces of college football, but then you can't forget
He's the most confusing face, though, too, because they're probably going to have a 500 record this year.
And that was going to be my next point. They're going to start losing, and once you start losing, the attention is going to go off a little bit. But right now, he is the current face of college football because we're all going to watch, whether you like it or not.
Yeah,
no doubt.
We also did see Sark and Ryan Day there. They certainly have cases for their teams to be face programs of college football going forward. But Deion is kind of a different level, and we saw what 12 did on Thursday night, and we saw what number 2 did. Those 2 are on kind of different planets.
That's right.
Speaking of Sark, Texas was playing a team that went to overtime against Colorado last year.
Exactly. We all remember Colorado from that state, Colorado State against the state in Colorado.
That's right.
First quarter, Quintravion Wisner, the new running back for Texas, who is replacing the 2 who got injured. He gets a touchdown first. Second quarter, Texas is up 10-0. Quinn Ewers. It's Matthew Golden here. Matt, this is a great throw as Texas extends their lead to 17-0 here.
Great throw, great concept. Very tough to defend for Colorado State's defense.
Minutes later, this time, Ewers finds Isaiah Bond, and that will be 007. Bond.
I love it.
Bond. Yeah, he got his face mask grabbed, and he was still able to score. But then in the third quarter, Arch Manning comes in. Everyone's really hyped about this, and he drove the team right down the field. And check this out. This is kind of like Patrick Mahomes-esque.
Shifty.
Like it a lot.
Brett Favre-esque, Eli Manning-esque, something-esque. He looked good.
Hey, look.
There's his ID.
Texas ends up getting the win 52-0. And right now, people have them as a likely winner in the SEC conference to be able to get up over Georgia. How confident are you in this team being able to do that?
Very confident. I mean, just what I saw, too, from, again, the guys that they got in the transfer portal, Isaiah Bond, Matthew Golden, right? I mean, like, those two guys, immediate impacts on the offensive side of the football, right? They protected Quinn Ewers extremely well today. The scheme alone is extremely difficult to defend. Multiple plays in this game, too, that you'll see, right? It's just there's a run, there's a pass, the ability to get to the line of scrimmage, dissect what the defense is doing, and then make them pay immediately. Very tough to defend. That will always be the best thing for Sark, right? Can they really replace the defensive line that they had a year ago?
That's the biggest question. for
Can
me.
they,
Yeah.
play balanced enough defensively? And that's the question. Secondary had some really good moments in this one.
Yeah,
Benda,
yeah.
the linebacker, played extremely well today. So the defensive line, can it hold up the same way that it did a year ago? I believe that as time goes on, it will be a production of depth, right? It's not going to be just
Exactly.
one or two superstars.
Exactly.
But overall, the team looked really good and really efficient today.
That was going to be my thing, depth. And I think that is going to play a huge factor as you look at the teams at the top of the rankings who are
Yeah.
trying to play 16 games this season. It is a long, grueling season. You're a guy
Yeah.
who played in the NFL. You know what it takes to be able to play all those games throughout a year. So when one guy goes down, you need to have a star behind him
Yeah.
to be able to pick things up. And I think what we saw with Archie Manning coming on the field is, hey, Quinn Ewers has been injury prone in the past. Now you have this backup quarterback who can step in there and be effective with what he does at that position. So Texas, I like them. However, it is different in the SEC. This wasn't an SEC team. I need to see an SEC matchup before I can start counting them.
Texas now 8-0 all time against Mountain West opponents. They have won all 8 games by at least 20 points.
All right.
So,
Well, keep scheduling them. Let's
keep
go.
scheduling
Yeah.
them. So,
Keep it going.
All right, there were a lot of blowouts today. The Akron Zips kept things close with the number 2 team
Yeah.
in the country until the second half. Will Howard, the Buckeyes, taking on Akron here.
Wow.
Howard looking for Jeremiah Smith. Get used to us saying that
Yes.
name because he was electric. The true freshman, one of the top recruits in the country with a touchdown. Ohio State takes the lead. Howard finding Smith again for his second touchdown of the day. Given the OHIO there, Ohio State 14-3. Now Howard looking deep. Who else?
Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah, that's right. Down to the 1-yard line with a one-handed grab. That was just one of the best plays of week 1 in general. Kind of reminded me of Travis Hunter's catch a little bit, but incredibly physical guys.
Yeah.
There's Quinshon Judkins. Yeah, he's on Ohio State now after transferring from Ole Miss. Ohio State would end up rolling in this one to pick up the 52-6 win. Similar to Georgia a little bit. I think it took a little bit of time for the quarterback to settle in. Will Howard in his first start at Ohio State. Avery Johnson taking over his former spot at Kansas State. He was decent today. I think that's all he kind of has to be, though, this year. I don't know that he has to be great when you have guys on the outside like Smith and Emeka Egbuka in that running back room. No,
Yeah,
you
I mean,
disagree?
I was like a little, I wasn't super excited
start.
about what I saw. I really
Well,
didn't.
that's why I said I don't know if he has to be
now
great.
it's new offense, it's new quarterback, all that kind of stuff. Like I understand those things, a lot of moving parts, right? And he'll get more of a grace period than Kyle McCord because everyone just wanted to just blame everything on Kyle, even though he wasn't the problem. It was Ryan Day's offense that was the problem.
Let him know.
But
the problem with that, the problem they had last year was Kyle McCord wasn't C.J. Stroud. I think that's what they were expecting.
You're absolutely right.
That's
And
the
also,
problem.
too, like what we're seeing again is everyone's talking about how great this receiving core is, but yet here's a freshman that walks in and he's already receiver 1.
Right.
So it's like maybe it's not as great as we think it is.
Really?
In a lot of ways. Because, dude just walked in from high school and is the guy already. So luckily for Ohio State, He is going to be probably the best receiver they've ever had in the history of the school. From what I've seen in this
he's literally that
very
good.
short period of time.
6'3", 215 pounds, a freshman wide receiver that already looks like he's NFL ready.
The way that he runs routes and the way that he adjusts to footballs so easily as a 18-year-old young man is really just. It's mind-blowing. It really is.
And reports coming out is his mindset.
Yeah.
The kid is a worker. He's a grinder, first one in, last one out.
Right.
And he's really dedicated towards the craft. And Will Howard, to your point about him adjusting towards this new offense, I think they're trying to figure out what they really want from him. Do we want to run the ball with him more? Do we want him to throw the ball more? Because there's a lot of weapons that he can get the ball over to. It was a slow start for them.
I also
was
found
a
it
little bit
interesting
concerned
that Ryan Day put Chip Kelly up in the booth, too.
And not on the field.
Yeah, he didn't want him next to him. He didn't want him to have too much attention. He's like, no, you go up there. You go up there so no one can see you.
Yeah,
all right,
yeah, that's Chip
That's
Kelly.
just me, though, but I'm wondering,
Those two go they go way back.
They are. They're cool. They love each other, and it's going to be fun, But, yeah, there's going to be a little growing pain, but at the same time, high expectations for Ohio State, and they got to live up to them.
And I will say real quick, because we're talking about slow starts, and I'm just looking at scores over here. It is in the second quarter, and Oregon is only up 7-0 against Idaho.
Slow start. We had a couple of slow starts.
Idaho.
I think they're able to get by Idaho.
Utah.
All right, so we're looking at some transfers here. A lot of QBs making their first starts with their respective teams this weekend. Guys, in the last 10 years, only one team won it all with a transfer quarterback. That was Joe Burrow and LSU in 2019. Which transfer quarterback, Maddie, do you think is set up for the most success immediately? If you had to pick one.
I wouldn't have said this person, right? But after today.
I know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to say.
You don't say
Cam Ward.
It's
Cam Ward, man.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And then I would say Dylan Gabriel
if I tell
right
you it was
after
7-0.
But that changes everything. But, man, after what I saw today from Cam Ward, if he can just limit the, risking it on every play.
He had
type
one of those
moment,
today.
And he does. But if he can just kind of limit that at times, if they can somehow bottle that so it doesn't pop up every game in big moments, man, it's really hard for me to pick against Miami, especially in the ACC. And I feel like when you're a team that's winning late in the year, and even if you're playing a team that maybe is a little bit better than you, that power of belief, it's like a Ted Lasso show, man. It's like believe, that's a real thing. And when you start believing, it's really powerful. And after today, everyone in Miami's locker room, yo, we can do this.
Yeah,
we can win some
the
games.
U is back. Yeah.
Right, and that's a real thing.
I agree with you on Cam Ward, but let me go ahead and say somebody else just for the sake of the show.
Just for the sake of the show.
I think
not because he believes it. Yeah.
Will Howard is definitely set up for success because Emeka Egbuka wasn't even as much of a factor in this game just because Jeremiah Smith was cooking the entire time.
Yeah.
They didn't really get to dig into their bag of tricks as much. And as the game goes on, as we talked about, they were able to figure things out. So as we look later down the line of the season, the more reps, the more that they get to play each other, the more they figure out the identity because you brought in a new offensive coordinator, you brought in a new quarterback, you got in this rookie wide receiver, you got new running backs. There's a lot of change at Ohio State right now. So how can we get everything right? They're going to have a number of games to figure it out. Next week, they got Western Michigan, and then you got Marshall. And then you got Michigan State. So you have 4 games before you see Iowa. And I'm going to be really interested to see how they will match up against that Iowa defense because we know that is one of the best in the country. And then right after that, they got Oregon. So for Ohio State, right now, they got 3 games to figure it out with all the weapons that they have.
Let's just remember, too, this is week 1. But I want to go back and to the point I just said. There has only been one transfer quarterback that has won it all in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Does that give you any pause in picking one of those quarterbacks to win a national championship?
I mean, we're doing it because it's an exercise and it's fun, and that's what we're trying to do for the show. But at the same time, I'm still putting the majority of my money and my funds into Carson Beck in Georgia.
That's what I was getting at.
Because I just feel like that is the safest bet. Right? If it was a stock, hey, that's S&P 500, man. That's the one that's going to give you the most return most often. And, Ward, I think they're just going to be a great story, and I really look forward to seeing the growth that they have as a team with Mario Cristobal.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, it's time now for the Playbook presented by Modelo. And, Maddie, last year was the year of the quarterback, but let's not pretend that there aren't talented quarterbacks going into this year, right?
Yeah.
And we start in Knoxville with a youngster taking over the reins. And Nico Iamaleava. It's going to take a while to get that name down, but I think we got it there. What impressed you about him today?
Yeah, well, he's like Blade, man. He just needs one name. Nico, hey, he's a baller.
Yeah.
This dude is phenomenal, and I was so impressed with what I saw from him today. The composure, the accuracy down the field was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it's next level, and I'm just so pumped. Being a former Vol, yeah, I'm being a little homer by this clip here. I know it's just Chattanooga and all that, but I don't care. They asked for 3 plays, and I threw my boy in there because I was just so impressed. So we have a 4-by-1 formation by Tennessee right here, and Chattanooga's trying to make sure that they flood this side of the field to stop this 4-receiver side. And this is what's crazy about what Josh Heupel does offensively. You're going to get an offensive play here where we're going to pull the guard to block this end. We're going to fake inside zone, and then these 2 guys are going to jog off the football and do absolutely nothing. And you know what? Dante Johnson, who is off the screen here because they try to spread out the field as much as possible, he's just going to run a simple go route one-on-one against the corner. But where we're really highlighting here, right, pass protection great, this young quarterback. Woo. Oh, my Lord. Oh my God! What a throw right there by the young man. He threw it so good he didn't even know how to catch it, right? And the other thing too is just now with this threat of spreading the field, throwing it down the field vertically like this, the pass protection, the formation, right, and just the beautiful touch, right, by this quarterback. So impressive. And this is something that was lacking a year ago, which now Tennessee's offense has again. This is just one of the many displays of talent Nico showed today.
I think that was probably one of the biggest questions coming in. We all knew Nico had a ton of talent, but you just kind of needed to see it. And 22 for 28 for 313 in 1 half. I think that probably says everything you need to know about the youngster. So Nico is just getting started in his career. Carson Beck has been doing his thing in Athens for a long time. They were in Atlanta today, and Carson looked like the same old Carson.
Yeah, and again, this is why he's one of my Heisman hopefuls, and we saw a few other quarterback performances this past weekend too, right? That really makes me think that there's going to be a few others there chasing it as well. But Mike Bobo, what he has done offensively, again, to build off of what they did last year. So we had a 2-by-2 set here, stacked position. We're going to motion this receiver over into a bunch set. And Clemson at this point in the game is like, we got to start taking risks. We got to start pressuring the quarterback, and we are going to get a 5-man pressure with the 4 down linemen and this backer adding in. This backer is going to drop in zone, and they're going to play zone behind this area. The problem is they're going to leave the entire middle of the field wide open, and that's an issue because that's an area of the field that Carson Beck and this offense like to attack. The concept that they run, really cool. High corner here. We got a shallow cross by transfer London Humphrey, and then we have a little trail route by the receiver here on the bottom. So it's a really easy read for him, right? It's just shallow cross to the trail. And with this pressure, as soon as it happens at the snap, he knows there's no defender in the middle of the field. So what is he doing? I'm going to be patient with my read, buy time, and just make sure I see out in front for my receiver. He sees no danger, throws a nice soft touch pass to him on the move. He hits that front peck, and when he hits that front peck, he can just take off and run and do the rest and get yards out of the catch. And I love this attitude right there at the end with the strong finish.
This throw looks easy.
Yeah.
He makes it look easy, but can you talk about the timing aspect of how much practice probably goes into a play like this?
Well, a lot of it is, right, it's the preparation, right? But then also, too, it's the composure when the play actually happens. They see that pressure, but he knows that he's protected. And you see him just kind of hang on that back step, just buying time for his guy. And that's also the ability, too, of just being a big, tall guy like Carson Beck is and being able to stand in the pocket strong like that. But you see right here, like, we have a safety trying to cover all the way across from the opposite side of the field from this bunch formation. So this is Mike Bobo just out-scheming Clemson's defense, and really just a nice little pick there by the umpire as well. But just out-scheming the Clemson defense throughout the second half.
Yeah, and this one, we're going to go right here to Quinn Ewers. Georgia's got some company at the top of the SEC now with Texas coming over. Ewers obviously led them to the playoff last year, and he's back at it again.
And it's still so weird for you to, like, say that, like, Ewers, Texas, in the SEC. It's just so strange to me. But, again, another 4-by-1 formation. This is kind of like a new trend in football, too. It's just trying to overload one side of the football field And then what do? You leave one-on-one matchups on the backside with typically your better player back there.
Yeah.
And who is that now for Texas? It's the Alabama transfer, Isaiah Bond. And he really showed his worth for this offense today. Texas has like a normal high-low concept here to the field, so they just got a corner route, a little sit, and this tight end's actually coming out to block for the halfback if Ewers decides to throw to the halfback there. But you know what? He makes it very simple for himself. Why read 3 different when I could just say, my guy versus your guy here in the bottom? Isaiah Bond does a phenomenal job releasing inside, actually gets hands to the face, adjusts his helmet halfway through this rep, and Quinn Ewers throws a beautiful throw into the back corner for a touchdown. Really easy execution, but it all, again, goes to the preparation and the execution by the players on the field.
Very good. Matty is back home back here on the touch screen. He feels excellent
Look
getting
at
this thing. That is
Beautiful.
the very, very first edition of the Playbook presented by Modelo. So these were
Wait, hold on, though. We got one more play here. We got one more.
Oh, you added
Great
one here.
play here by Texas. Yeah, we added one late. I'm just getting word here.
Yeah,
Confirmation.
hold on.
Here it is. Here it is.
Talk about
This is my
a
boy,
missile.
Sam Ravech over here, all right? The country club man himself, right? I don't know, what is this, a uranium golf ball?
That's
glow in the dark.
The glow-up golf ball, yeah.
All right, he's playing golf at night. It doesn't matter. He doesn't need the sun.
You see the windup. Now check out the
Great
foot
form.
position.
Yeah.
Delivering the force from one
all in the
side
hips. It's really all
to
in
the
the hips.
other, you know?
Yeah.
This is the only time that you have hips, but I know what you're saying, okay? All right, and just an absolute rocket down the middle of the fairway there. Unbelievable shot. I love this. Love this guy.
Sam,
dedication.
How far did that go?
That was a good 270.
Woo!
Yeah.
Look at that.
Good
Look at
270,
that.
but look,
What are you using?
Matt
A
Damon
3-wood?
and the legend of
that is
Bagger
a
Vance
driver.
couldn't hit it that
That
good.
is a driver hit well on the glow-up ball.
It is. That golf ball made of uranium.
What you didn't see is it actually ended up in the rough, but we don't have to tell
It's okay, yeah.
So.
Don't worry.
Hey,
We're not
television.
judging you.
No, I
You ain't gotta
appreciate
tell
that.
everybody
Yeah, I
that. It looks
appreciate
straight, okay?
It's not the first time we hit a
It's
golf
way
ball.
better than what he does.
Not the first time we hit a golf ball. All right, we got to move it along. Time now for Game Changing Connection presented by AT&T, where we look at quarterbacks and their playmakers in sync right out of the gate. If you didn't see it, 12 had it going on for Colorado. Travis Hunter, Deion Sanders, 445 yards, 4 tutties for Shador. 3 of those were to number 12, who racked up 132 in week 1.
It was something different.
I mean, those two are going to be must-see.
I watched the film. It could have been 600 yards passing. It really could have been. But, you know, the biggest thing, I think the offensive line did much better, right? And Shador, at times, just play within the frame of the design of the play. But at the same time, the beauty of what he does is extending and making plays.
Yeah, it was almost like watching Steph Curry. Every throw was good.
Yeah.
And every throw was good for Drew Aller today. New year, new Drew.
He looked like a new quarterback.
He did?
Real talk.
Hey,
Harrison
coaching.
Wallace, back shoulder fade. Ooh.
It's funny what a new offensive coordinator
Yeah,
can do.
it's amazing what coaching and just like an offensive philosophy will do for a quarterback and for your offense and really just for your recruiting class in the future right there. But Drew Aller seemed very confident. We had him on the radio show earlier today. He seemed really excited about what they did offensively. Really, really exciting for Penn State.
I'm sure he was thrilled to talk to you today, by the way.
No doubt.
How about Jake Brenningstool at Clemson? They need some more explosive plays, and the tight end can bring them to him. He had 3 catches today on the day for Clemson. This was probably one of the highlights for Cade Klubnik and this offense today.
Best play on the offense for Clemson. The good thing for them going forward is that they don't have to play Georgia again unless they're going to win a national championship.
Right.
Yeah, tough break for them to start off. Well, we did some big schools. Why don't we go to a smaller one like Old Dominion taking on South Carolina? Grant Wilson airs it out to Isaiah Page, and he makes Buddy over here do the cha-cha slide. Slide to the left, slide to the right. Everybody clap your hands.
That was awesome. I have not seen this clip yet, and man, was that good. That's why you do ladder drills at home.
That's right. That's right.
Really, the footwork was not footwork king over there. Nice
tight
play.
Oh, man.
All right, well, we'll keep it on the theme of one-handed catches here. How about FIU, Indiana? 3rd and 21 for the Hoosiers. Curtis Rourke under pressure, and he's going to loft one up just before the line of scrimmage.
God.
How about the catch and taking the contact?
That is tough.
Miles Cross sticks the paw out, makes the grab. Hey, new head coach there in Bloomington, Tom Allen, now the defensive coordinator at Penn State, we just saw, and Kurt Cignetti picking up his first win for the Hoosiers.
Yeah.
We got a favorite play from week 1 that we just saw there? I mean, those were all some electric. I like the cha-cha slide.
I think Isaiah Page, right, and what he did with his footwork there.
Yeah,
was just
exactly.
Super impressive.
Because when you line somebody up like that and you know you got them in the blender, it's just embarrassing. And for us, we love it.
To be that fast and then to make that many moves, that's another thing in itself. The quickness and the ability to get in and out of cuts.
All right, so while we might be in midseason form, not everybody can say the same.
Well, thanks, Sam. I appreciate it.
Let's see what happened in Tennessee earlier today. Look, they scored 45 points, I think, in the first half of the game. And you know it's a tradition, Maddie, of course, they do push-ups after every single touchdown.
Look at the guy on the top of the screen.
I mean,
look at the guy.
Look, I'm not one to make fun. Like I know I couldn't do this. It's too hot in Knoxville to be doing push-ups when you got 45 points on the board.
I understand, sir. Just do a
Needs a
plank
water
hold.
break.
Hold the plank position, all right? And they were not doing that when I was quarterback, that's for sure. So I'm glad that they actually got back to doing push-ups. And listen, with that new offense, he is going to get in shape really quickly, all right? So don't worry about it. He's going to be
60 plus.
He's going to be looking good by the end of the
crazy.
year.
I mean, if you're on the sideline and you know you got to do a push-up every single time they score, at some point they're probably like, what? They score again?
Everybody in Knoxville is happy that Nico was there, except for those people having to do push-ups.
That's right. That's all right. You're going to be in great shape by the end of the year. Good luck, guys.
All right, let's take a live look in here down at Kyle Field in Aggieland. Number 7 Notre Dame, new head coach Mike Elko on the sidelines for A&M.
Oh, we came in right at the right time.
Is that Watts? Is that Xavier Watts?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's one of the. He led the country in interceptions last year.
He sure did.
Won the award for Best Defensive Player of the Year. That was huge right there.
It's amazing how just certain guys in the secondary continue to find the football, and everyone at home is like, "Oh my God, he's so lucky!" But you can't get lucky that often. Xavier Watts, great feel for the game, playing center field, dissects the play, fantastic. So if he doesn't make the interception there, he's going to absolutely just crush the receiver. Great awareness right there by number 8.
All right, so that will get Riley Leonard back out on the field for Notre Dame. Now, of course, Leonard coming over from Duke to now be the quarterback at Notre Dame. Look, Maddie, I mean, he was injured last year, right? But you go back to the year prior, he was really good in helping Mike Elko at Duke get that thing up to speed. And if you can win at Duke, you can win anywhere. But what do you like about Riley?
Yeah, I mean, for Riley, you love his athleticism. That's something that, the Notre Dame offense has not had a lot of, right? It's just great athletes at the quarterback position. So his ability to be a true dual threat quarterback, I think will pay huge dividends for Notre Dame as the season continues to go. But what I really want to see from him as a quarterback evaluator, right, is I just want to see more accuracy and more accurate throws, especially like outside by the numbers on the perimeter. We saw, Cam Ward do that. We've seen Shedeur Sanders do that. We saw Carson Beck do that. That's something we got to see. We got to see more of that from Riley Leonard if they're going to make a championship run.
Yeah, right now he's basically their leading rusher. 5 carries for close to 20 yards. Looks like they got a holding call here.
Cooper Flanagan got a hold of a jersey.
Yeah, so that'll bring him back. But the thing about Riley Leonard, obviously what we saw last year, is he really announced himself to the world in that Clemson game, and then against Notre Dame, ironically as it is.
Last
play of the game, he messed up his ankle. He just wasn't the same. Was basically injured for the rest of the year. So, to me, I don't know if I want to see him run the ball as much as it already seems like Notre Dame is going to commit to.
And it has to be part of their philosophy offensively and what will make them a more dangerous matchup as the season goes.
A lot of people saying there are playoff implications in this game. Look, I know we're in week 1, but when you look at Notre Dame's schedule, going down the stretch, Texas A&M trying to get off on the right foot under first-year head coach Mike Elko. And by the way, anybody who thinks Mike Elko is in a rebuilding year is going to be sadly mistaken. This is a team that is ready to win right now.
And right there, number 5, Bo Collins, one of the weapons for Clemson a year ago. Clearly an emphasis of being a weapon already for Notre Dame early on, throwing the screen there to him.
Notre Dame would have made the college football playoff in 7 of the last 10 years were it a 12-team format. You guys can still watch the game. We're still going to watch Riley Leonard. Aaron went out here.
Get her up there.
A lot of contact. That'll be a pass interference. on number 7.
Did you guys all have a Notre Dame win this game? Do you feel like Notre Dame will come out?
Yeah, I picked Notre Dame to win this game.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that I'm a little concerned with a young offensive line, right?
Injured.
Yep, right. And that's a concern, especially at Texas A&M. This is one of the most hostile environments in all of college football, no matter what Texas A&M's record is. But I still think that Notre Dame, defensively, with Riley Leonard's ability to run, should be able to be a balanced attack as they gauge.
So one thing about Notre Dame this year that should be improved is their offense. Because what did they do? Wide receiver group, and on top of that, you got a new offensive coordinator.
Sure.
Mike Denbrock from LSU, and he led the top offense in the country last year. And he had Jaden Daniels as his quarterback, a guy who also likes to run the ball, who's a dual threat quarterback. So now you have Riley Leonard, a guy that you can develop and hopefully let him become a Heisman contender, because he's at Notre Dame and we're all going to be talking about it. But that change at offensive coordinator should lead to some results.
Notre Dame ranked 48th in the country last year in pass yards per game, 246. Now you bring in Chris Mitchell from FIU. You bring in Bo Collins from Clemson. So theoretically, having Hartman try to carry that load last year, I don't think you can put a lot of the onus on him. You can certainly put some of it on him. But they did not have the weapons on the outside that maybe they do this year. Let's see what Leonard does here.
And the biggest thing you mentioned, too, with those two players is they have speed.
No doubt.
Something they never had.
Oh, my God. That looked like some miscommunication. Exactly. Miscommunication.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he was supposed to run a corner on that play or what, but it did look like the receiver got a little tied up, and it looked like Riley was throwing to the corner while the receiver was still going vertical on that one. But if he would have looked strong side, he would have had an easy pitch and catch there for a touchdown.
There was a lot of sideline there, and we can hear Kirby talking about that. Kirk Herbstreit talking about that as well.
Look at that
With
stadium.
that much room to the sideline, you got to be able to hit it.
How great is that view?
Kyle Field is, if you've never been to see a college football game, one of the most incredible atmospheres.
Hey, everyone else in the YouTube chat, what do y'all think is going to happen on this play? I'm taking a look. 3rd and goal.
Not a great red zone set there.
No, missed opportunity
had
for
good
him.
defense, too.
Missed opportunity.
But still an opportunity to get some points off the turnover.
Let's see what they did here.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah,
got to make that throw right there. I still think that he could have completed that to the running back. But, hey, the game's not about perfection. It's about just overcoming adversity. And, if they can hit this field goal here,
it's week
tie
one.
the football game.
It's week one.
It's good.
It is week one. This has been a very exciting week one. Oh, by the way, week one is not over. We still have more football to be played over the course of this weekend, and a huge game going down in the desert tomorrow between USC and LSU. These two schools are essentially mirror images of each other. It's actually kind of weird. Both programs replacing Heisman quarterbacks. Both were unbearable on defense last year, and they both brought in new defensive coordinators to try and help out the unbearableness that was the defense last year. Let me ask you this. I think both defenses needed to improve in different areas.
Right.
Which defense do you think can improve the most this year? Who do you think will struggle more? I mean, I think we're going to focus a lot on the defenses here, but the quarterbacks are also a big factor in this game.
Yeah, they definitely are. But I think D'Anthony Lynn, the defensive coordinator for USC, one, because I thought USC's defense was even worse in a lot of categories than LSU in some aspects when I watched them. I think that he can make the most profound impact, right, for USC. And I really do think that he is one of the rising stars in the coaching world in college football.
Right.
I really believe that he knows exactly what to do. The son of Anthony Lynn, who was fullback, running back for the Denver Broncos, and also was a part of the Jets coaching tree with Rex Ryan and them. I really believe that this guy is a rising star in college football.
Scoob, we were talking too before we came on the air about the CFP implications in this game, because you could certainly make the case SEC team wins this game and they're projected to finish around 5th in that conference.
Yeah.
They have the inside track on the CFP. Same goes for USC in the Big Ten.
Yeah, this is a bigger game for USC than it is for LSU.
Talk to me.
And when you look at LSU and their schedule going down the line, they're going to have some bigger games. that they can impress with the committee. That's what it's going to be about. The committee chair for the college football playoff has already said that we're going to look at strength of schedule, common opponent, all those things. For USC, they are kind of the outside looking in, but worse than Penn State. We're thinking about Oregon, we're thinking about Michigan, we're thinking about Penn State. We're not thinking about USC in that conference. So you come into this new conference, you no longer have a Heisman winning quarterback, and now this is your opportunity, Riley, to show us what you're working with. So now that you have this quarterback who's not going to improvise as much as Caleb Williams did, you're able to run your system, you fired your head coach, you're in a new conference. This is how you announce yourself. And if you get this win, it puts the Big Ten on the map. And now going later down the schedule, down the line, the matchups that you have are going to pay off dividends towards your college football playoff.
In a very strange way, I actually think Miller Moss might fit this system better than Caleb Williams actually fit the quote-unquote system. But let's make some picks in this game. USC, LSU, I think I came in a very close third in our game picks last year.
You did great, Sam. You made a great effort.
They're trying to be nice to me. I came in dead last. It was really bad. But I'm going to pick USC to win this game. Scooby, who you got?
I'm going to go with LSU. They're the ones that are playing at home. I think it's their time. They're a more balanced team this year, I would say.
LSU, SEC. I just think it's going to be a tough environment for USC to manage. I'm going with the Tigers.
Okay. So, again, you guys are picking together. I'm picking apart. So we'll have to see.
The theme of last year continues.
It does continue. We'll see if I get a little lucky. Speaking of luck, the Florida State Seminoles did not get lucky in their first game over in Dublin, Ireland. They actually lost to Georgia Tech. Now they try to rebound on Monday as they host Boston College. I'm going to take Florida State to bounce back here in this win. I think getting that whole DJU thing figured out. They have the talent too, but I think they can win this game. Scoop.
They struggled with the quarterback who could run the ball last week, Castellanos. He's a quarterback that can run the ball.
Sure can.
But I'm still going with Florida State. I think it'll be a closer game than people expect.
Bill O'Brien, new head coach.
I would like to pick Boston College, but I just don't have the courage to do it. So I'm going to go with Florida State. But really, it's not DJ is the problem. All right, the defense a week ago played awful. Right, couldn't stop the run. People running wide open all over down the field. Florida State has a lot of stuff to clean up really quickly. And Bill O'Brien, man, dude knows how to coach him up.
So, he got Bill O'Brien there at BC now, so who knows?
He's a similar cat to Brent Key, man. He's got a lot of fire.
And he's a New England guy, so I think he can recruit that area very well. So that'll be fun to watch. We got football coming up later tonight. We got more football coming up tomorrow. And we got football coming up on Monday. It does not get any better than opening weekend one in college football. Guys,
just won't stop.
I mean, this is going to be a great season. It's great to be back with you guys as well in studio. It is so great to have our entire crew back as well. Thank you so much for watching the College Football Show presented by AT&T. Enjoy your Labor Day weekend, everybody.
Go Vols!